Mike McCool here in the Royal Examiner studio, and with me today is Glenn Wood. Glenn is running for town council in the November 7th election. Here's a couple seats. So I think we have 2 open seats and we have 4 candidates. So
Correct.
You're going to have to make a choice. So Glenn is with us today so that he's going to introduce himself and talk to you and let you find a little bit more about Glenn Wood. You've probably seen him around. He's been on the Planning Commission a couple different times over the years,
Right.
and he's been in our community a long time. So, Glenn, the first question I always ask candidates are, why in the world do you want to do this?
Well, Mike, I retired last year after 45 years in business. And once I did, I looked for ways that I could serve our community. I became active in a Rotary Club, and that has a lot of service projects. There was an open seat on the Planning Commission. I applied for it and was appointed. And in the Planning Commission, you work not only on current issues, but you work on the future.
Sure.
And as a result of that, I started watching the town council meetings and going to their meetings. And I just felt like there was an opportunity perhaps to serve the town better, utilizing my years of experience and my nonprofit volunteerism. And I think that I could add something to our council and help shape our future.
I like that on your sign. It does say that, shaping our future.
I hope to be able to do that.
Yeah,
yes.
I don't think people realize what the town council or board of supervisors or any of these governments that we have, we kind of think they take care of the day-to-day things, but really what they're doing, they should be looking down the road. It's the future is what really government is focusing on. We hire people to take care of the day-to-day stuff, and policymakers look at, long-term, and I'm sure you've seen this on the Planning Commission.
Absolutely. I mean, we've seen a few issues, whether it's been rezoning or ordinances come before us. And, of course, we just submitted our comprehensive plan.
Right.
We completed that. I'm pretty proud of that. Town council unanimously approved that. So the comp plan is a guide for our future. It shows what we anticipate happening in the next 5, 10, 15, even 20 years.
Right.
Taking that as a guide, because it is a living document, it does mean it can be changed if needed to be. How do we move forward as a town? You mentioned that as far as governance, the day-to-day activities, you have a great staff. You have a wonderful town manager, town attorney, planning director, finance guy. I mean, they win all kinds of accolades.
Sure.
So we have a solid staff in place. We don't need to micromanage them. We need to direct them and get out of their way.
Right.
What the council needs to be focusing on is how we move forward. What do we need in the community? How can we obtain that? A lot of discussion surrounding infrastructure. It all costs money, so we need to be planning if we want to put in $4 million of infrastructure. How are we going to fund that?
Right.
We cannot just go out and raise taxes and say, well, everybody has to pay for this because we need it.
Sure.
There are alternative ways of doing that.
Right. You do it like eating an elephant, one bite
Bite
at
at a time.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. In the government, we see that in nonprofits, they called reserves, right?
Yeah.
You see, it's we can't make it. We got reserves. We got to put money aside for future endeavors that we have to do. I always thought it was funny. I said, well, we call that cash, but in nonprofits, they call it reserves.
Well, in the business world, Mike, when I've worked in industry and manufacturing all my life, we looked at opportunities to improve manufacturing or save money,
Right.
or make something safer or make something less labor intensive. And we always measured it as whatever money we spent on that, would that money be returned within 5 years,
Right.
ROI, or return on investment. And I think there's a lot of opportunities within our town where we can look at perhaps eliminating some laborers' jobs that we have a hard time filling, and automating them. We have to do an analysis, obviously, but there are opportunities out there where we can make the town a more employee-friendlier employer and still serve the citizens and keep the costs as low as possible.
One of the phrases you talk about employee-friendly, business-friendly. we've they all, you know, the government, county and town both, oh, we're so business friendly, until you have a business and you try to access these services, and everybody says, well, you're not very business friendly. And that's a hard thing to do as well. What do you think about that?
Well, I've seen that to a small degree with our planning department. As a commissioner, myself, along with Commissioner Williams and Merchant, Marshner, and Wells, have tried to help the planning department realize how to be more business friendly. Recently, there was a rezoning request for some property at the RMA facility, and I wanted to make sure that they were getting a timely response. Sometimes it's not as simple as the town does this,
Right.
but our county partners and the building department has to approve certain things
Sure.
before we sign off. So, and I talked with the representative of the applicant. I said, I know that you got into this late, but I want to make sure you understand the process. I want to make sure you feel that the planning department's being responsive
Sure.
to you. And we need to operate as a business entity. And in business, as you know, providing your service or making your product the most efficient way and being customer friendly is key.
Yeah. You mentioned the county. What do you think about town-county relationships? The good, better, best?
Opportunity to improve.
That's a good word.
We have an opportunity to improve. So many things, Mike, are tied to the town and the county. What's usually good for one is good for the other. When we talk about economic development, having the resources, of course, the town is always providing water and sewer outside of its corporate limits, so we need to make sure we have the capacity to do it. We make sure that our county partners are moving forward in a way that we're coordinating these efforts. We're not pushing our resources to the extreme, that we have plenty for everybody. And this recent water crisis
Showed its head, didn't it?
showed its head. So when you talk about bringing additional industry in, or even more development, housing development, we have to be cautious. And there are some things we can do and partner with the county, like traffic studies, water impact studies. That shouldn't be just a town or a county issue. Traffic affects us all. You know, if you're a town resident, you're also a county resident. I went to a rezoning meeting with the Warren County Planning Commission the other night, and the big thing of that rezoning was a VDOT study. I know for our Planning Commission, when we look at rezoning requests where we see growth in our comp plan, water, sewer, and traffic. And matter of fact, a recent subdivision rezoning request was turned down by the council due to the impact of traffic out at the Shenandoah Shores area.
Right. I remember that. Wasn't that long ago.
Right.
But at the same time, you know, years ago, we don't really have master plan communities in this area as much as, say, out west. I noticed they have, maybe they have more space, I don't know, but and larger developments, they literally put in everything. They build the infrastructure, then they turn it over to the government to take care of that. Do you see anything like that happening in our town? We still have quite a bit large tracts of residential development.
We do. And unlike, however, they may proceed out west, our model seems to be rezoning, planning to develop an area. Then we depend on the developer to come in and a site plan, and the developer developing the streets, putting in the infrastructure, the utilities, streets made to state standards, where the town citizens and the county citizens don't have to pay for that.
Right.
Some call it impact fees, some call it proffers. Whatever we want to call it, we have to make sure that the developer pays their share to bring their product to the citizens.
Right. Someone was bringing up a point the other day about housing development. I think it came out because of these couple of things. We got the county at the golf course housing project, the one here in Shenandoah Shores,
Right.
and they were showing the chart of how much it cost per house built, like $27,000 for this and that. Like it impacts the school, it impacts the fire department, it impacts our road maintenance, it impacts a lot of things other than just building a house there. And sometimes people don't realize all the parts that we're going to bring in 1,000 homes. Well, that means you're going to have 2.3 kids per. You start adding all that up, and
right,
6 cars per thing, and next thing you know, your traffic goes crazy, and we don't see that immediately.
And that's the role of the Planning Commission. That's why towns, cities, counties have planning commissions to look at that, study that, recognize what is good, what could be problematic, and make sure we mitigate those things.
Right.
And I'll give you an example. If we have 300 family homes approved, and again, 2.3 kids per household,
Right.
that has a vast different impact on us than a 55 and older community where there are no children. Odds are these are senior people have a good income or savings.
Sure.
They're not going to need social services, perhaps the rescue squad as we all age. But, that type of development has a lesser impact than, a 4-bedroom,
Sure.
3 or 4-bedroom house.
Sure.
And we need it all. We need it all. We have people in our community that needs very affordable housing. And we haven't built an apartment building here in, 20 plus years.
Yeah.
So that makes it difficult when you get new professionals coming to our community where they're going to live.
Right.
Our new teachers, we hired 50-some new teachers this year, and only 30 of them have a front row Warren County address.
Right.
So when your new teacher comes in, they're teaching in Warren County, but they are living in Shenandoah County, Frederick County, West Virginia, Luray. They end up putting their roots down. They shop there. They make their friends there.
That's where they spend all their money.
They spend their money, and once the opportunity exists, they move to that school system. So we have a constant turnover, and that's all of our concerns.
Sure.
It's not just a school board or a Warren County concern. It's got to be the concern of the town, too. These are educated people that contribute to our community, and we want to keep them here.
Right. You mentioned quite a few things there, but what are you really passionate about? What do you think the council can do that you can match up your passion plus the council and get something accomplished? Where are you at on that?
Well, I already talked about my business experience and looking for opportunities to save money, to make jobs easier, or to create take, let's say, a trash truck and make it an automated truck instead of 2 guys on the back, two people on the back riding around picking up trash in all kinds of weather, making it where we can use our assets to move ourselves forward. My background has been in human resources for many, many years, and I always, whether I'm working in business, whether I'm working in the many nonprofits I've served, I look for the win-win scenario. And I think Chris Christie said it best when he announced his candidacy in the town hall. He became a red governor of a blue state. And we all go into this thing thinking we can do this or we can do that or,
Sure.
what I want to do. But at the end of the day, it's finding common ground, compromise, and moving forward. And that, I think I have that demeanor and experience, and I put people first. And I think working that way, I don't have an adversary out there. I'm not running against 3 other people. I'm running to present the community my experience and my love of community and what I'm willing to do to serve.
Right. Anything else you want to add?
Well, come out and meet me. I'm having a meet and greet tonight at the Melting Pot from 5:30 to 7. I'll be announcing shortly a coffee with the candidate at the Daily Grind. We'll be scheduling some other activities, so you can get to meet me. Early voting starts this Friday, the 22nd, at the 15th Street School. I'll be there every day asking you for your vote. I will have a website up this week, www.glenwoodva.com. immersing.com.
That's Glenn with two N's.
Oh yeah. Got to put the second N in there, or it won't work. I'm getting my name out in the community with signage, and more importantly, I want you to understand why I hope to earn your vote on November 7th.
Glenn, I appreciate you coming in. I want to remind people that on Thursday, the 21st, we're having a candidate forum presented by the Chamber at the Government Center. We'll be there filming that, and we'll be putting that video up either late that evening or first thing on Friday. So if you missed the candidate forum, you'll be able to watch that on the Royal Examiner. And it's primarily going to, well, this time it's going to be just the candidates that are not running unopposed. You know, so if they have a competition there, those are the ones we're going to present. There's quite a few that are unopposed, and we're starting to see some write-ins come forward. So pay attention to what's going on in the media here, and look at the choices that you have. There may be some write-in candidates that are going after some of these unopposed seats, so that'll be important too. Early voting starts Friday. Right. The election's November 7th. If you haven't registered to vote yet, there's still time.
I'll mention one other thing. Thanks to the Royal Examiner and the county and town website, you can go back and view past meetings. And I think to be educated to vote and to know whom to vote for, or hopefully make a decision, go back and look at past meetings and see what you like and what you don't.
Right.
Look at our planning commission meetings, how well they seem to be run, our decision-making process, the uniformity of discussion about the participation of the public, and look at the town council meetings too and say, how could we improve those?
Right.
And I think there's an opportunity, and I hope to be part of that.
Yeah. All right, Glenn, thanks so much for coming in. We really appreciate it.
All right, Mike.
And
thank you for
good luck
having
on
us.
your campaign. Well, hopefully we'll see you again before the election.
Hopefully.
After you've beat the street for a couple of months, we'll see a couple of weeks.
Coming to a door near you.
Really appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you.